Hey, how's it going, Jimmy? My name is Jack here with Mr. and Mrs. Leads. Thanks for trying out the site auditor. Hope you got some insight out of that. I wanted to follow up here with the video analysis of your website and to provide some further insight as a search marketer in terms of what kind of competition is out there and some of the keywords we should probably go after and how we would help you go after those keywords if we were to tackle this project on together. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get started. The first thing I did was I pulled up your website here in a tool called Ahrefs. Ahrefs allows search marketers like myself to look at the metrics of a website and see what's been working out for you. Now, I did a little bit of research and homework before I made this video, and I understand that you provide computer repair services in the Lexington area. And also, the website is freshly launched. I think it just launched this month. And so we do have some work to do, and there's a couple of issues we're going to run into because it's a newer website, and I'll talk about that in a sec here. But before I do that, let me show you what I can see right off the bat, all right? The first thing that we need to do is we need to start building the link profile on your website. Your number of backlinks from referring domains, we really need to start ramping it up and start linking to your website because that's going to help show Google that you are an authoritative website. And it's good to start this immediately as soon as your website is built because it basically right off the ground kicking, you're going to show Google that your website is popular and it's being talked about. So in case you didn't know what a backlink or referring domain is, Jimmy, it's basically any website out there on the internet that links back to your website by a hyperlink. So what I mean by that is if there is a blog out there that's called the computerrepairblog.com and they mention your website in a new blog post and they say, hey, if you're looking for the best computer repair services, go to cybernetic and if the person clicked on the link, it would take them directly to your website. And so the fact that the person is out there hyperlinking to your website is tracked by Google, and Google uses that information to determine how trustworthy your website is and how authoritative your website is. And authority, in turn, plays a big role in the algorithm in terms of how quickly you rank for the keywords and how highly you rank for the keywords you want to rank for. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that we continue to start adding these backlinks to your website because we're going to start building the authority on it. And then that's how you're going to outrank your competition as we start moving forward with this SEO campaign. Some of the issues that we're going to run into because this is a new website is that there's a thing called sandboxing in Google's algorithm. Now, it's not officially considered a thing in Google's by Google, but it's definitely something that we as search marketers recognize. Essentially what it is for the 6 to 8 months, even 12 months nowadays, websites tend to be penalized in the sense that they don't get as much credit and it's a lot harder to rank for keywords for those first 8 to 12 months of existence for a new domain. The reason being is Google realized that a lot of the newer websites were, as soon as it was created, people were doing a bunch of SEO on the website and then immediately starting to rank at the top of Google. But the thing was, these kinds of websites that were ranking at the top of Google were very spammy. It was the kind of things that search marketers took advantage of and they were able to very quickly rank for the keywords. And so what Google did was they added the sandbox hidden algorithm to their algorithm that basically made it so it was harder for newer websites to rank. Now, there are ways around this. And some of the things that we can do to help show Google that you are a legitimate business that's not trying to game the system but are actually popular right off the bat is if you do certain things like adding social signals and sending out like press releases like PR stuff. And so what I mean by that is if you have a new website and you start getting a bunch of social signals, what that does right off the bat is it shows Google that your website is being socially shared and talked about. So if there's a business out there that had a Facebook page and they never made a website, but then after a couple of years, they grew their Facebook page, maybe their Instagram page, and then they decided to make a website. That website is going to get a lot of social engagement because the Facebook account already had a bunch of social shares, and the Instagram account has a lot of social shares as well. And so because you're getting a lot of social shares, it made sense in Google's eyes for a fresh new website to get more links from other websites because it's like if you're being socially shared, it's like if you're being in front of more eyes. And so when you're in front of more eyes, it makes sense that the link velocity of your website, the number of backlinks, the number of websites that are pointing back to your website, also increase as well. And so Google doesn't want to penalize those website and new business owners that are go-getters, that are doing things like adding a Facebook account, Twitter account, all that stuff, and then starting to get links from those websites, because that's just a go-getter, and you shouldn't penalize business owners like that. And so Google recognized this. So when you add these social signals along with the link velocity of a new website and linking to it, that really takes the website to a next level and helps it rank a lot quicker than if we were to just throw links at your website traditionally. And so that's something that works extremely well. The other side of that is the press releases that I talked about earlier. And what the press releases do is it allows what we call pillow anchors, and basically just helps get the name out there and start getting natural links to your website, because you're doing these press releases. And it makes sense for a new website and a new up-and-coming company to start shooting out press releases and to start getting interest and start getting social shares and things like that. And it all helps show Google that you are a legitimate website that's just more of a go-getter than your other competitors, and Google wants to give credit for those kinds of business owners. And so we need to make sure we do those kinds of things. Some of the other things we need to do is we need to make sure that you create a Facebook, Twitter. Okay, so you actually have all these accounts, which is fantastic. That's exactly what you need to do, and then start, like I said, doing the social signals and things like that. Now, all of the stuff that I talked about, the press releases, the social signals, the links and all that, is something that we would take care of because you're our client, and that's essentially what we do as our SEO. We make it so that your website is found online, and that's essentially what we would do. Some of the other things that we could do to kind of hack the system is to, okay, so actually hacking is not the right word, but some way to bypass the issue of sandboxing is to start ranking you locally in the map pack as well. So if I type in computer repair Lexington, you'll see that the top 3 locations, the top results is actually this map pack. You can see actually there's 3 results that show. Now there's more competition than this. See, if you click more services, you can see there's a lot of other computer repair services in the area. But what we need to do is we need to make sure that you're in this top 3 right here, and ideally in the very #1 spot, because that's going to help show Google that that you rank locally, and then it's going to give you credit for things like that in your organic listings as well. But you don't have to necessarily rank in the organic, but you can a lot more quickly rank for this map pack right here, because it's a different kind of algorithm to rank for this map pack as opposed to organic listings right here. So some of the things that we could do is adding citations. So citations are basically any website directory out there where you can submit your name, address, and phone number. Right? So there's thousands and thousands of directories out there that you can submit your business information to. And what this does is because Google crawls all these website directories, it shows Google that your website has a legitimate name, a legitimate address, and a legitimate phone number that's in the Lexington area. So in Google's eyes, when you have that address and phone number, it shows Google that you're a legitimate address, you're a legitimate business, because you have a phone and an address on there, and it helps show Google that that you should rank for the map pack right here for those things. Now, I don't know if you created a Google My Business page, but that's the first thing we need to do if you haven't, because that's how you show up in the map pack. And from there, what we need to do is add those citations. What we need to do is we need to do on the Contact Us page, you want to have a map right here, so you include that API. It's not hard, it's just a snippet code, embed code that you have to add, and that's going to give you credit for that. And then we need to start adding those citations I was talking about to really start capturing the map pack and start being shown. Some of the other things we need to do is we need to make sure that you get some reviews on your website as well. So we can talk about that as well. But the other thing is making sure that the citations are correct, because if you don't submit the citations correctly, Google's not going to give you credit. And so a lot of business owners go out there and try and do it themselves, and unfortunately, it's all mundane. It's all not worth it because it's just not submitted correctly, and Google can't connect that citation and give you credit with your website. So we need to make sure we do that. So yeah, I'll wrap it up here. I just hit the 10-minute mark, and I don't want to make this too much longer. There's a bunch of other things that we could do to help boost your website. We could do some keyword research and go after less competitive keywords that are similar to your service that you provide, and then just kind of go from there. But you know, I would love to talk to you further, Jimmy, about what you're looking to do with the website, what your time frame is, what your goal is, what your marketing budget is, and then we can just hash out a plan of attack and go ahead and get started on this. But there is a decent amount of traffic in terms of the keywords being put into Google. I've already done the research for it, and there's a decent amount of competition. Now, you might think having a lot of competition is a bad thing, but it's also a very good indicator of the amount of business that's out there, right? Because if there is no business out there, it would only have room to serve one or two businesses in the area, right? Otherwise, all the other computer repair services in the area would just not have enough income to continue staying afloat. But the fact that you have a decent amount of competition in the area means that there is a need for this service in the area, and it's just a matter of overtaking the competition, because that's how Google works. And the moment that you hit the first spot for the keywords you want to capture is how you're going to get the majority of the traffic and the majority of the customers in the area, because that's how people are finding any service, local services these days. So I appreciate it, Jimmy. I hope at the very least you got some insight out of this, and I would love to talk to you further about some of the things I talked about and just kind of go from there. All right, so I appreciate it and look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.